Imagine waking up in the year 1850. You're in the heart of London, the greatest city on earth. But as you open your eyes, you aren't greeted by the smell of breakfast. Instead, a thick yellow fog, known as a pea souper, clings to your lungs. It's a mix of coal smoke, industrial chemicals, and the stench of 3 million unwashed bodies. You've heard the stories of Victorian elegance, the ball gowns, the top hats, and the grand tea parties. But forget what Hollywood told you. The reality of the Victorian era was a literal horror movie. In this world, the water was poisoned, the air was toxic, and your very home was trying to kill you. If you were a commoner, you weren't just living, you were playing a daily game of Russian roulette. Tonight, we're stepping back into the shadows of the 19th century to see why you, yes you, probably wouldn't last a single day. Chapter 1. The Great Stink. The first thing that would hit you isn't the sight of London, it's the smell. In the 1850s, London had no modern sewage system. Everything, and I mean everything, from human waste to animal carcasses and industrial acid flowed directly into the River Thames. The river was a thick, black soup of filth. And yet, this was the same water people used for drinking, cooking, and bathing. In the summer of 1858, the heat became so intense that the river began to literally ferment. The stench was so overpowering, it became known as the Great Stink. It was so bad that the curtains of the nearby Parliament were soaked in chloride of lime just to keep the politicians from fainting. But the smell was the least of your worries. This water was a breeding ground for cholera. You'd take one sip of water and within hours, your body would shut down. You'd turn blue, your skin would shrivel, and you'd die of dehydration faster than you could write your will. There were no antibiotics, no IV drips, just a cold, hard death in a crowded room. Chapter 2. The Phossy Jaw. If the water didn't get you, your job probably would. Let's look at the matchstick girls. These were often teenagers and young women working 14 hours a day in cramped factories. Their job was to dip wooden sticks into white phosphorus to make matches. After a few weeks, your teeth would start to ache. Then your gums would swell. But then something truly terrifying would happen. Your jaw would start to glow a ghostly green in the dark. This was Phossy Jaw. The phosphorus was literally eating away at your bone. Foul-smelling pus would leak from your gums, and eventually your entire jawbone would rot away. The only cure? A surgeon would take a saw and cut out your entire jaw without any real anesthesia. If you didn't get the surgery, the infection would spread to your brain and kill you. All this just so the wealthy could have the convenience of a match. Chapter 3. The Chimney Sweeps. Now let's talk about the children. In Victorian London, childhood didn't exist for the poor. If you were a small, thin boy, you were a prime candidate for a climbing boy, a chimney sweep. Children as young as 4 years old were sold to master sweeps. They were forced to climb up narrow 9-by-9-inch brick flues that were still hot and filled with suffocating soot. To keep them moving, master sweeps would often light a small fire in the fireplace below them or poke their feet with pins. The physical toll was brutal. Their knees and elbows would be scraped to the bone, which the masters would toughen up by rubbing them with salt and vinegar. Many children got stuck in the bends of the chimney and died of suffocation. Their bodies would stay there for days until the bricks were torn down to retrieve them. If they lived to adulthood, most developed sweeps cancer, a painful and fatal disease caused by the constant contact with soot. Chapter 4. Death by Design. Even if you were lucky enough to stay at home, you weren't safe. The Victorian middle class had a deadly obsession with the color green. A specific pigment called Scheele's green was used in everything: dresses, artificial flowers, and most famously, wallpaper. The secret ingredient? Arsenic. As you slept in your beautiful green bedroom, the damp walls would react with the wallpaper paste, releasing toxic arsenic gas into the air. Families would wake up with headaches, rashes, and failing vision, never realizing their walls were poisoning them. Women wore emerald green dresses that contained enough arsenic to kill 20 people in one night. As they danced and sweated, the poison was absorbed through their skin. They were literally dying for fashion, their bodies breaking out in painful sores while they smiled for the cameras. Outro. We often look back at history through a romantic lens, the poetry, the steam engines, the empire. But beneath that gold plating was a world of unimaginable suffering. The Victorians were tough, but they were also victims of a world that didn't yet understand science, hygiene, or human rights. So tonight, as you brush your teeth with clean water, sleep in a room without poisonous wallpaper, and work a job that doesn't rot your bones, take a moment to be thankful. You live in a world your ancestors could only dream of. But tell me, after hearing this, do you think you could have survived just one day in 1850? If you want to dive deeper into the dark side of history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And let me know in the comments, which of these Victorian horrors shocked you the most? Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.